Okay, hello and welcome to my vlog. My name is Yvonne Castillo. I'm a music education major at Friends, and this week we're going to be talking about. First, we're going to talk about something I learned about the Transcendentals, goodness and values, and then we're going to talk about the Friends value statement. I think honestly, every single week I've learned something new about the Transcendentals, and it's been really interesting to read each chapter and like dive in on one certain topic, opposed to just being the three topics and then like trying to get little aspects of each. We're really being able to sit down and focus on goodness, beauty, and truth. And I really enjoyed the chapter on beauty, and I thought there were so many different aspects and a lot of different things that hit me, and it's made me look at life in a different way and like trying to see God in everything that I do. And I really like there's one line where he said that in the clouds he felt like it's God's smile like peeking through the clouds. And I've always been drawn to excuse me, the sky and like the moon and like just our atmosphere that surrounds us. And it's such like a warm, calm, peaceful feeling to be in nature and seeing what beautiful things God has made for us to enjoy. And I really liked this chapter on goodness, and I didn't honestly think about so much of the sin aspect of what all goes into goodness, because I don't think our sin is what makes us good people, obviously. And so I thought it was really interesting to see the parts all about sin and how it's so hard for each and every one of us to avoid it. And I've obviously heard before that we use other things to help us fill our void, our because our soul obviously quenches for a thirst that is God, and we all try and fill it with other things that are not substantial and only have a quick relief. And it's it was really cool to see that relationships is what can help us create the deeper bonds that will help us feed our soul. Just being able to communicate with people and really understand what goes into these relationships and bonds to form these newfound commitments. And I think a lot of times we feel so much for one another. We have so much empathy and caring for one another, but yet it's hard for us to sometimes do things for other people. Like, a lot of us aren't obviously missionaries. We're not all going out and just doing all these things, but we do random acts of kindness for people constantly. We want to be good people. We are, like the book says, we are made in God's image, and we are made to be good and do good. And I thought that was really interesting. Um, there's a lot in here that I highlighted because I thought it was really interesting for me to see. And like, obviously the Trinity is beautiful, good, and true. And I this is on one of our questions on our quiz, and it talked about how the original image cannot be distorted or marred or vandalized by our sin. No matter what, we are still an image of God. And no matter how much you sin, you are still in your image of God. You get farther away in your likeness, but yet you are still of Him. When you look into the mirror, you see Him. He is in you no matter what happens. Um, He created us to do good works. We are works of art in ourselves, but we are also called to participate in doing good works and making our very life a work of art. We are created to do good. This is the witness of the Bible. I also, as I was reading this chapter, I thought about all of the false narratives we had talked about before, and as soon as I started reading about how we're like rotten sinners, we love to sin, and all we do is sin, like I was like, when is he gonna reveal that this is a false narrative? Like, and then he finally did. He said that we are good for nothing is a false narrative. So I was like, thank you. I was like, goodness gracious. And I was waiting for it. And I think it's so interesting to like see, like, obviously we all struggle with sin, but to see that we really just need more God. Like, He is what fulfills our need, quenches our thirst, like I said. And we just have to move past our sin and not let your sin define you, because that's not what it's about. That's not what we were made for. And I also like thinking about the transcendentals. Like, if it is good, it will be beautiful and true. There is always truth and goodness in beauty. If it is beautiful, it is good and true. Like, I think that's like honestly a new way to live life. This class has brought me to see a lot of new things. Like I said, shown me new aspects and like ways to live my life. I've been running every morning for like 2 months now, and it's been wonderful. And every morning I used to listen to music, and like I would listen to heavy metal rock so that like I would get pumped and I was ready to go and everything. But now I've stopped listening to music and I just run and I enjoy what God has made, and I take the time to really concentrate and focus on things that I'm going to be doing throughout the week and trying to center myself and get myself ready for the day. And I try and talk things out with God about how everything's going to go and what I should be doing, and making sure that I'm mentally on the same page as what God would want me to be. Next, we're going to talk about the value statement, and how well do I think the university upholds these values. So we have RISE, the core values, and so we have respect, inclusion, service, and excellence. I think that the university does a really good job of standing up to these values, and they do a good job with RISE. I think sometimes some of the places are lacking. I know that there are obviously faults and cracks in every foundation. Not everything is perfect. We do a really good job, and I just think that we can, obviously, excellence, even though it is the last, I think it is one of the most important things. We should always be striving to be better as people, as part of the community, and the school should also be striving to be better. I think that we are not always giving the best to our students at all times. I think that they do try and obviously honor God in what they do. I understand some things are difficult, and it takes a lot to run the school, but there are definitely things that can always be improved. I don't have a personal value statement. I don't really know how to make one, obviously, but as I labeled the note here, it says my value statement, and I just picked out a few words that I would like to live up to daily, and what I strive to be. I always strive to be compassionate to others, always, in everything I do. I want to have compassion towards others. I don't ever know everyone's background all the time. And I think that that's like what we're talking about in goodness. Like, your sin doesn't define someone. You don't know the full story. Like, oh, just like in the book, whenever someone came up to him, uh, up to Professor Smith, because of him going into the ballet, and then they were like, "Oh, you weren't good enough to get a ticket." Like, you don't know the story. Just be compassionate always. Like, he went to the ballet to do this stuff. Like, it's none of your business. Truthful. All day, every day, I try my best to tell the truth and be honest. It's sometimes I too truthful, but I do my best to try and tell the truth to everyone I come in contact with, no matter what it be. I put pride on here. It is one of the things that can cause problems because we aren't supposed to be boastful and be too prideful. But my mindset on this is be proud of who you are. Be proud of where you come from and what you're going to be. And be proud that you are in the image of God and that you can love like Jesus did and that you're here today. You're here for a reason. So be proud of it. But this was my vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really excited to listen to everyone else's and see what you guys all have to say. So, yeah, have a good day. Thank you.